We're gathered here at the grave of Robert Byrne, volunteer, trade unionist, and family member. Please let's not forget that. And 100 years on from the great sacrifice that Robert Byrne made, we're gathered here to commemorate his involvement in the War of Independence, in our fight for Irish freedom. So I'm going to ask the young Catholic down to this.
On Thursday, the 10th of April, Robert Byrne was buried in Mount St. Lawrence's Cemetery. Commandant Michael Brennan, officer commanding the East Clare Brigade of the IRA, commanded the funeral cortege, because the two rival Limerick battalions could not agree on one of their own to command it. The funeral was as much a city's display of defiance as an expression of sorrow. There was a strong military presence throughout the city. Armoured cars flashed through the streets, and coming up to 2 o'clock, sections of soldiers with fixed bayonets and police took up positions along the funeral route. Each section was supported by an armoured car and an ambulance. 2 military aeroplanes circled above the cathedral and followed the procession for part of the way. At 10 minutes past 3, the funeral left the cathedral. The hearse was covered in wreaths, and many more were carried by IRA volunteers following behind. The Irish Independent termed it a most remarkable funeral demonstration. First came the Catholic clergy of the city churches, the wreath-bedecked hearse, the flag-draped coffin borne by volunteers, the chief mourners, and a seemingly endless number of volunteers from Limerick, Clare and Tipperary would come in them on. A further 5,000 must have marched, including the mayor and members of the corporation in state. The funeral made its way through the old town, the Mall, Patrick Street, William Street, to the cemetery. The mourning throngs wore armlets of black and the Sinn Féin colours of green, white and orange. As the coffin passed points where the military and police were posted, the troops presented arms. At the corner of O'Connell Street and William Street, the clatter of rifle butts on the cobbled sets and the glint of bayonets in the sunlight caused a moment of panic among the crowd. A few onlookers were slightly injured in a stampede. Outside the household bazaar in William Street, some British officers stood on a plinth observing the funeral and saluted the tricolour draped coffin as it passed by. Robert Byrne was buried in a grave that already contained the remains of his father, who died in 1907, aged 47, and his sister, Mary Agnes, Sissy, who died in 1912 in her early 20s. As the coffin was lowered into the grave, a firing party discharged a volley of shots. The firing party was drawn from the 2nd Battalion's A Company, who operated in the district near the cemetery. They would frequently provide firing parties for IRA volunteer funerals, since their proximity to the cemetery made it easier for them to safely carry and hide arms. Cornelius McNamara, who had taken part in Robert Byrne's rescue, was a member of the firing party under the command of Captain M. McCann. Among the mourners at the gravesite was the deceased cousin Alfie Byrne, a former Irish National MP and alderman of Dublin Corporation and a famous mayor of that city. The mourners also included railway workers and employees of some local stores who had taken the day off when refused a half holiday to attend the funeral. Already, the emotions aroused by Robert Byrne's death were having their effects among the workers. Byrne's post office clerical colleagues in Limerick, Thurles and Limerick Junction and the Limerick postmen laid wreaths at the grave. His brother, Thomas, worked as a chemist assistant, and the Assistants Association passed a vote of condolence. More significantly, perhaps, in the light of later events, was the vote of sympathy passed by the Irish Transport and General Workers Union on the night of the burial.
Thank you, Leo. Comrades, I'm going to call on my colleague, Frank MacDonald, Secretary of the Limerick Coastal Trade Unions, to step forward now and lay a wreath to commemorate Robert Byrne and his involvement in the War of Independence.
Byrne Grosca, Cortes Generosa, Cortes.